Hello, welcome to the Mediocre Takes podcast, the podcast where we share our mediocre takes on the shows and movies we watch. I'm Marco and I'm here with my co-host Mel. How are you doing, Mel?
So, two things. I was editing one of our videos. I think it was Lackadaisy. And Marco, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes when you give out your recommendation, I do zone out a bit. I was editing the video and you were like, "Well, I don't know a lot about world wars or whatever." But during one of the wars, the America did this, and I was like, Marco, first of all, there's only one war that the United States
okay,
participated in. Second
okay,
of all,
okay,
there's only
okay,
one
okay.
war where the
Wait.
United States
Shh,
government.
shh, shh. Okay, so I was being dumb. My brain wasn't working that day, and literally the day you said I'm done editing that and you sent it to me, I was listening to it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's World War One,
It's
right?
World War II.
Oh my god.
Marco, we only participated in one. Only one of them.
Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I just want to apologize.
Oh, your first apology.
Yeah,
We did it.
won't be my last.
And then two, did I tell you this? So I went to the hospital recently. Whatever. There was a nurse
Hmm.
who, I don't know, he was like doing like the last checkup before I was released or whatever. And he made a comment about my real name. And he was like, "Oh, are you Hawaiian?" Because my name is Hawaiian. And I was like, "No, I just have family from there." And he was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So you're young. Are you single?" And I was like, yeah, I am." And he was like, "I have a son around your age who lives in California." And I was like, "That's so interesting." And he was like, "Would you be willing to like move to California?" And I was like, "Sir, please release me. Like, can we speed this up? Like, I first of all, there's a few things wrong with this scenario."
Yeah, yeah. That's so strange. Oh, I was gonna say this. I forgot to totally say this, but I was in the hospital 2 times in March, and you said the woman have cursed me, and you were in the hospital in April, so the alcoholics have cursed you.
Stop! Stop! Oh my god, you can't say that.
Yes, I can. And if I
Do you
get
think it?
canceled for it, I'll apologize again.
Do you think it was my mom?
I don't know.
Do you think she was the one who cursed me?
Maybe. Well, she did try to reconnect your cat family, but not her human family.
Should we talk about that?
I don't know, only if you want to.
Guys, lore update. So my mom disowned me. We've already been over this. But here's what's really interesting. So my brother and my mom got cats from the same family, and she got one, my brother got one, my brother ended up giving me his. And what's so interesting about this is I think it was a few weeks ago, she texted my sibling, who I don't talk to text my father, who I do talk to ask me if she can have my cat. And that was a really interesting experience to experience. And she talked about how, like, oh, just like to have the families reconnect. And I was like, you literally disowned me. Anyway, that was so interesting.
You know, we don't give woman manipulators enough credit these days for the wacky shit they'll do.
Well, no, I feel like we shouldn't give credit to the ones who don't know that they're manipulating, because I don't think she knows.
Hmm,
I think she's not
you
right up
got a
there.
point. They really have to know how bad they
Yeah.
are, so that way they can be even worse. You know?
Yes, because those are the girl bosses, and those are the
Yeah.
ones that are slay queening, and those are the ones that we should like put respect on their names.
Hmm.
Anyway, speaking of
Anyways,
girl bossing, I don't know.
speaking of girl bossing, this movie did not girl boss, and
No,
no, it did not. But we're talking about Batman Year One. That's such a weird introduction. We
this is the longest introduction we've ever had.
keep it all in, honestly. Today we're talking about Batman Year One. This is a movie basically that's Batman's origin story, and let's just get into it. So the movie is based off the Batman comic arc of the same name. I believe it's only 4 issues long. We follow Batman, Jim Gordon, and sometimes Catwoman during their first year in Gotham. Batman and Jim Gordon are trying to fight corruption and crime, and the movie comes to a high point once Jim Gordon's child has been kidnapped. The movie ends with an unmasked Bruce Wayne being seen by Jim and his wife after Bruce saved their child. and they decide to keep it a secret. We cut to modern day, and Jim Gordon talks about the Joker and how Batman will save the day. And yeah, that's the plot of the movie. Okay, I kind of hated Jim Gordon in this movie. Like, was it just me? He literally cheated on his wife, and I absolutely hated that. What makes it even worse is I saw this coming. Like, I knew this man would cheat on his wife. What pissed me off even more is that she decides to stay with him. This is a huge problem because this is more of a Jim Gordon movie than a Batman movie. And when you make your main character that disgusting, honestly, I can't root for you, you know?
I agree with everything you said. That being said, it was written in the 80s.
Uh,
So, cheating, I think, was a lot more acceptable. And it was like, it was
for the
okay
men.
for yeah, it was okay for the good guy to cheat. And like, it's so funny because the ending is written in a way where it's like, yeah, he's still the good guy, even though he cheated on his pregnant wife.
Yeah, I remember there was a sign about like couples therapy.
Yeah, at the
And
end, he was like, "Me and Barbara are gonna start going to couples therapy." She's not that enthused about it. Yeah, because you're the problem. She did
yeah,
nothing wrong.
yeah.
Wait, also, can we talk about how in this world or whatever, Barbara is the name of his wife?
Wait, what?
Barbara's the name of his wife.
I did not notice that. What?
Yeah, which is why I was so confused, like, when you were like, "Is this canon or not?" And I was like, "It can't possibly be canon because his wife's name is Barbara and they have a son."
Yeah, I
Um,
was also wondering about that because I noticed when they said it's a son, it's a boy or something like that, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Not my
yeah.
Batman.
Jim was not fun in this.
Yeah, I just want to say this is not my Jim Gordon. Make Jim Gordon great again, you guys. I'm sorry I had to say that. Of the three female characters that are important to the plot of this movie, all three of them are poorly written. Like Catwoman's plot line goes nowhere. Jim Gordon's police partner is only there so he can cheat on his wife, and we don't even see his wife's reaction to him cheating. I felt like maybe the writers were just like, this scene is too hard to write, let's skip it, you know? And I'm like, you really shouldn't skip an important scene like that. Like, I want to see her like kill him or something, you know? Okay, so I think this is a good movie from like a technical standpoint. I just didn't love it that much. It doesn't help that the crime lord plot lines don't make me interested in most Batman media. Like, if I'm looking for Batman media, I'm looking for supervillains, not realistic cops. If I want to watch being cops corrupt, I would just turn on the news or go outside. Okay, what's your opinion on the Batman voice actor? Because I don't think I like him that much, and I don't think he has a good Batman voice. The moment that made me realize I don't like his Batman voice was when Batman broke into the dinner meeting and basically said, "From now on, you are not safe." And I was like, something about that line just doesn't connect for me. But yeah, what's your opinion?
He don't sound like Batman. I don't know who the voice actor is, but it's not my Batman. This is someone else's Batman.
Make
Yeah.
Batman great again.
Stop, Marco.
Yeah, I'm
Marco,
sorry. I'm
bury
sorry.
it. Bury it. He's almost in prison. Just let it go.
Was there a specific scene that you didn't like from this voice actor?
I think all of it.
All of it?
Yeah. I didn't like his voice in general. I mean, I think it's easy to do a Bruce voice.
Mhm.
Um, but in no way did he sound like a good Batman in my opinion.
I really like that scene where after almost dying, Bruce goes back to the mansion and talks to the bust of his father, and then a bat breaks through the window. What I personally love about this scene is it shows us how mentally unwell Bruce is because he's literally talking to a bust of his father. Like, what? That was so strange. And I didn't think about it at first, but when I was rewatching this, I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong here.
Did you like that origin? Like did you like how Bruce found what he should be, like that he should be a bat?
I'm not sure. I feel like I kind of liked it, but at the same time, it was a bit much. Though I think the Batman franchise is just kind of overdramatic either way when it comes to like Batman's origin story and like how he becomes Batman. Because I remember during Mask of Phantasm, he's dating the Phantasm lady. I forgot her name, but during one of the scenes where they're dating, like bats fly out of the cave to show like that like this is the wrong thing and he shouldn't be doing this. At least that's what Batman thinks through his eyes. So yeah, I feel like I was okay with it just because I'm used to the over dramaticness of the Batman franchise. But if this was like any other character, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much. Okay, so another scene that I really enjoyed was that scene where Batman is almost defeated and was only able to survive because he got lucky, and he says something along those lines. I have kind of gone sick and tired of overpowered Batman. Like, Batman is human, and I kind of want him to be like a weaker character compared to other superheroes. And I think this is shown more in the Justice League. Like, he like kind of goes toe to toe with a lot of supervillains and still is alive, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I remember during one of the Superman Batman films, he like basically gets beat up a whole bunch and like none of his ribs are broken or something like that. He can still stand up, which was really weird. I just want him to like be human, I guess. And by that sense, I want him to be a bit more realistic. When I say that, I mean that in like a fighting sense, not like in an actual storytelling sense, because it's Batman. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes year 1 so interesting because in like every iteration where the storyline takes place when he first becomes Batman, he has to be weak, like he has to be vulnerable
Hmm.
physically. And I really appreciate seeing him in a drastic state because it's so much more fun to see, I guess.
Yeah. And one last thing I have to say is, can you really still keep walking after you get shot? Because like that
Yeah,
happens so much in Batman media. I'm like, what? Like he'll be shot in the stomach, and I'm like, how are you still walking?
adrenaline probably mostly.
Mm, yeah.
And I guess it just depends where the bullet hits. I mean, if it hit a major artery, he'd be down and dead, but
Hmm.
if it just passes through him, then he'll be fine.
Passes through him, I'll be fine.
Okay, so why is it shiny? I've complained about this before, but I absolutely hate when animation has this shiny tinge to it. It's so annoying, and I've yet to hear or read a reason for it. Also, I didn't like the backgrounds. They're boring, uninspiring, and it feels empty. They managed to make Gotham feel empty, which I think is one of the biggest tragedies in this film. All that being said, I did like the animation style of the characters. I love the Hanna-Barbera look in regards to the eyes, like how there's no white, it's just the outline of the eye and the pupil. I absolutely love that. So I like to pretend that the clown painting in Commissioner Loeb's office is an authentic John Wayne Gacy original because I feel like it just makes sense for a commissioner to have that. I absolutely love how Bruce committed a Clark Kent by disguising himself through changing his clothes and putting one thing on his face when he went down to, I guess, like the red light district. And speaking of that scene, when Bruce saved those cops, he made it the comment about how, like, even scums have family. Statistically, those cops beat their wives and kids, so actually, he was doing society a disservice by not letting them die, but Batman has his rules, so whatever, I guess.
Statistically, cops are part of hate groups too, so
Yeah, we also had that scene right in the beginning where I forgot what the cop name was, but he literally just like walked up to a black kid and beat him up. And Gordon was like, "Well, did you have to do that?" And he was like, "Oh, he had a knife on him." And then Gordon flips over the knife and it's a comb. Also, shaky camera. I talked about this in the Superman Batman Apocalypse review. Not only is it completely unnecessary, but it's ugly and it makes it hard to focus on the action, which sucks because the fight scenes are good. They made their fight scenes look bad by adding the shaky camera. Hate to see it, truly. Okay, so I have read the comic, and I'll say, in regards to how faithful it is to the story, it's basically copy paste. Nothing was really cut out from the comic to the film, and there was only a few, like, very small changes that did not really affect the story. Marco, do you think the baby will remember seeing his dad get smacked around? Because personally, I hope he does.
wait, what scene was this? During
Uh,
during the end?
Yeah, it was the last scene when they were on the bridge.
Honestly, he deserved it. But I hope the baby remembers too.
Yeah, me too. I did do like some light perusing, and it looks like in some storylines, his son grows up to be like this crazy guy or whatever, like a serial killer or something. And I like to assume that the reason he did that was because he saw his dad get smacked.
Wait, wait. When you said his son becomes a serial killer, I thought of that one meme that goes, "Brother, what is that?" Like, cause that's such a weird thing. I have never I never thought like that would be the words that would come out of your mouth. Yeah. Jim Gordon's son becomes a serial killer. Like what?
What I love though is there is commentary we can have about the fact that in a world in which Jim Gordon has a son, the son becomes a psychopath, or he is a psychopath. But in a world in which he has a daughter, she's a crime fighter.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not.
We all know men commit most crimes, y'all.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. And
Facts
beat
over
their wives.
feelings.
And commit more war crimes, you know?
Well, yeah, because like they're the one doing the war.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, anyway. Oh no, that's it, I guess. I mean, I guess I can re-mention the fact that Jim Gordon cheated on his wife when she was pregnant. I may be misremembering something, and this may be Marco, are you okay with this little spoiler?
Sure.
Okay, I may be completely misremembering this. This may not actually happen at all, but I swear, I think I remember a Batman animated film in which Jim Gordon cheats on his wife. She finds out, and then she divorces him and leaves him for the woman he cheated on her with.
That would be so iconic. It's way better than that one Batman film that has rape in it, you know?
Oop, oop.
Okay. So Mal spoiled me about a movie that has sexual assault in it, and I was like, okay, so does this movie have a romance between Batman and X character? And they were like, yeah, and I was like, ugh, I was like, disgusting. I said repeatedly and like really loudly because I was so disgusted. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that. We'll get to that movie eventually, you guys.
Sadly. And I think you're doing the recap for that one.
Ugh.
I hate to say it, when I was writing down, because we go like back and forth, when I was writing down like who does what, I remember like looking at the title and be like, I remember this one, and seeing which one of us would do it, and I was like, oh, thank God it's you.
Wow. Anyways, overall thoughts. Overall, I think this is technically a decent movie. I just really couldn't stand Jim Gordon, and I didn't really like the plot line of corruption because that's just not really something I'm interested in when it comes to Batman media. So yeah, this just really wasn't for me. I will say I did like how Catwoman got inspired by Batman. Yeah, that just adds more to their romance, I guess.
I really don't have much to say about this. We've watched a few Batman animated films that were adaptations, and though neither of us can say how true to the comic Superman Batman movies were, I can confidently say that this was literally copy paste minus a lot of exposition that's in the comic, which sucks because that's a part of the comic that I actually really liked. Yeah, that's it.
I love how we both short and sweet on this one. Anyways, Mal, I have a question for you. I've been asking this every time. If you had to predict where you would rank this movie, where would you predict it, your ranking?
So I'm still not sure how I'm going to properly rank the bottom tiers. I think I mentioned this before where I'm like, do I want to have the ones that I actually really hate at the bottom, or do I want to have the ones that I feel nothing about at the bottom? Because, do I want to rank something that I actually have emotions for higher, or do I want to rank
Mhm.
something that like made me feel nothing lower? And because of that, I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna safely rank this at a D. It's not going to be higher than a D, I know that for sure. I just think that on its own, it's kind of generic. And if I had a choice between reading the comic or watching the movie, I'd take the comic. Because, like I said before, I love the amount of exposition in the comic. And I also just genuinely liked the art style of the comic.
As for me, I'm really struggling to figure out where to put this as well. I'm going from like C to F, basically. Like I know it's gonna be somewhere around there. I'm also wondering. Like I felt nothing really about this movie other than annoyance because of Jim Gordon and that plot line. But other than that, I really just didn't feel much for this movie. So I think I'm gonna put it at C for now, but it can definitely go lower. What?
That's too high, and you know
Is
it.
it?
That's
Yeah,
too
you're
high,
right.
and you know it.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna put it at D. You're right, Mel. I needed someone to say that.
I'm glad I can be that person for you. Okay.
Oh, Mediocre
Now,
Minute. I didn't
yeah.
write it.
Oh, you have to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
You do it.
Okay.
Take your time, sweetheart. Wow, what a weird tangent we went on. Okay.
Okay, we literally had to stop because I forgot to add my Mediocre Minute. And we'll probably cut that out, but we just spent so much time talking about random shit.
Yeah, we spent so much time talking about the Omegaverse. It's our favorite thing to talk about together.
Specifically the Islamic Legoverse? Specifically the specifically the Islamic Omegaverse TikTok scene. So yeah.
Yeah, there was a huge uptick because of Ramadan. People were
Oh
talking about
yeah.
like the ethics of. Okay, anyway, look it up on your own time, guys, if you're interested. But we were in the trenches on TikTok. Okay, well, we're done with that now. Now, Bruce may have wrapped up his first year of crime fighting, but the Mediocre Minute is still a few months off of its 1 year anniversary. The Mediocre Minute, of course, being a tiny little micro moment where me and Marco recommend books, comics, music, games, and more for you all to check out. My recommendation is the comic Gotham City Year One. My god, this was an exquisite comic, and if you're a fan of the Batman Year One comic, I cannot recommend this one enough. The comic is set in Gotham, of course, in the 60s, and follows a detective who's hired by Constance and Richard Wayne. Yes, Marco, Bruce Wayne's grandparents. I read these issues back to back, and let me tell you, the twists and turns, the betrayal, the drama, I loved almost every minute of it. This comic is hands down one of my favorites. This is also the first comic I've read that had a content warning in the beginning. There was a content warning because, like I stated before, it's set in the 60s, so put two and two together if you'd like. I don't want to give out any big spoilers, but I will say if you don't like seeing racism or minors getting gravely hurt, I don't recommend this comic. It is definitely not a lighthearted read, but it was so good. Okay, Marco, what is your recommendation?
So I've been trying to read more nonfiction lately because I'm not woke enough, apparently, according to myself. So I was,
What?
I was,
Can we talk about this for a second? You keep making MAGA jokes, and then you're like, I'm not woke enough.
what?
What is happening to you?
I just think I'm funny, apparently.
Okay, sure, no, yeah, no, continue.
No, we need to actually talk about this now.
You're making a joke about a slogan that happened in 2015 about a
Oh,
guy who's about to go to prison. So irrelevant. And then you're like, okay, I will say the woke thing is a little bit funny, but I just feel like the weird YouTube algorithm you were having where you were getting weird like racism content kind of fried your brain and like you're just now slowly resetting.
what really fried my brain was the Among Us in Real Life song.
Oh my god, you're right.
Among Us in Real Life, sus, sus.
No, we're gonna get copyright struck.
Okay, anyways, so basically, I just realized I want to read like more leftist media and stuff, and I want to learn more. So I read Are Prisons Obsolete by Angela Y. Davis, and I strongly recommend this nonfiction book. This is basically going over why prison bad, and I learned a lot more than I thought I would because I already knew prisons are bad, but I especially learned about how women are treated in prisons. And something I didn't know is that when you're sent to a prison as a woman, they will check your vagina to see if there's anything inside there. If you say like no, I don't want that to happen, they will literally sexually assault you because they think you might have something hiding in there, apparently, which is crazy. And I also learned that there was this one quote unquote feminist who, instead of thinking we should make prisons better for everyone, she wanted to create equality between women prisons and male prisons. And by equality, she wanted to make female prisons just as bad as male prisons. So I don't know what she was on, but she made a huge impact and made women prisons way worse. I strongly recommend this. This will like enlighten you a lot. Oh, another thing. What makes prisons even worse is before slavery wasn't abolished, most prisons were full of white people. However, the moment slavery did become abolished, a lot of white people were trying to figure out how to, keep enslaving black people. So what they did is they made it basically illegal to be black, I guess. Like they made a bunch of laws that would basically make it so most black people would go to prison, and this is what caused like most prisons to become like mostly PLC people now. It's just really strange how prisons have been like making money and stuff. I can't explain it all. Read this book; it's really important. And yeah, that's my recommendation. Anyways, you guys, that's our thoughts on Batman Year One. If you want to send us a voice message on Spotify for podcasters, there'll be in the description to do so below. Also, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and that's everything. So, goodbye.
Worms, Marco.
Worms?
There
What?
were worms in our brains.
What?